man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the ring got messed up. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard. You know what I'm saying? That's true. You know what I'm saying? But oh, look at that! Oh my God!
This is your boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash Troy Inferno. Back at it with another Pokemon Unite commentary video for you guys, and oh boy, I was not going to talk about this, but it have gotten out of control, and more news broke about this last week Friday that I discovered earlier today. So I have to talk about this. So what's going on here? So in case you haven't heard the news, in case you're not following the NBA, and we got this a bit more basketball news as well. I'm gonna talk about that another time. It's crazy. Ime Udoka. Just by me saying that name, y'all know what happened. So here's what happened. Ime Udoka has been suspended for the entire year from coaching. So for those of you who don't know who this is, let me give you guys back story. So he's the head coach of the Boston Celtics. Now, his first year there, which was a year ago of this past season, he led the Celtics to the NBA Finals where they lost to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. And he was on his way to getting a promotion that would see his salary being tripled. And yeah, he was basically the head coach for the future for the Boston Celtics. Now, you're probably wondering, what did he get suspended for? So here's the deal. He had an affair with a female staff member. So there is a Boston Celtics organization policy, and really, this is, oh gosh, okay. So what happened is, let me be more real. What happened is this. He broke many violations, many policies that the Boston Celtics organization have in place. But basically, all of this happened because he basically has, let's call it like it is. He has sex with a female Boston Celtics employee. So the gist of it is, the Boston Celtics organization have a policy that prohibits their employees from pretty much having sex with each other. That's pretty much the gist of it. It may be more into it than that, but the reason why it's a messy situation, and I'll get more on this in a second, is because the Boston Celtics organization themselves did not give out any information because of legal reasons. So it's already a dicey situation. So now we're going to turn our attention to First Take and Stephen A. Smith. Now, for those of you who know who Stephen A. Smith is, y'all may groan at the name or whatever. Y'all may not like the guy, you know, and all that jazz. Y'all may like him because he's hilarious. His rants are funny, whatever the case may be. So he is somebody who's been covering sports for 30 years. He's been reporting. He's now have his show First Take. You know, he's appeared on other people's sports shows and things of that nature. So he's doing his thing within the sports world and all this other jazz as well. So yeah, he's been doing his thing. So he said on his show, and throughout his years of reporting, which has spawned up to 30 years, stuff like this, where there's these sports organizations and even corporate America have policies that prohibits their respective employees from getting involved with each other in that manner, you know, from having sex with each other or getting into any relationship. I don't know what the exact policy is, but there's policies like that all over corporate America, apparently. So, sticking with sports, Stephen A. Smith said, normally, first of all, stuff like this happens all the time. He can name examples. He can name people who are involved. So this happens all the time. But the thing is, throughout his years of reporting, not giving takes, not giving predictions, but report, because you know you can question those, whatever the case may be. But the one thing you cannot question about Stephen A. Smith is his reporting. I mean, he's the one that broke the news about LeBron James going to South Beach. That was him. So, all of his years reporting, never had there been a story, never have anything went public about two people who were involved in a sexual affair of any kind within any of these sports organizations. Because normally the sports organizations keep it in the house. They don't reveal anything. They don't leak anything. So over 30 years, you normally don't see stories like this hit public. You normally don't. But yet, we got this right here. Now, also, let me put this in there as well. Ime Udoka is, well, if you were to look at him, you would have the impression that he is black. Now, I'm not sure if he is of African descent, if he's African American. I don't know what his nationality / race is, but first glance, he's black. So you see where you see where the narrative is going right here, just by me saying that. I'm not going to go that far yet, but you see where we're going here. So again, over 30 years, this been going on all the time, and yet it's been kept in house. But yet, this case, when it's involved a black guy, is out there. National news. And it's like, really? Now, the word is a leaker revealed this information, but the Boston Celtics organization ran with it, and they constantly talked about it, right? And then they announced that they were going to suspend the guy, which is also odd, because here's what normally happens in a scenario like this, aside from the fact that this stuff don't get leaked. So, if this happens and the organization keep it on the house, they keep it hush-hush, they don't reveal it, they either do one or two things with the individuals involved with breaking their respective policy. They fire them or they keep them. And if they fire them, yeah, it depends on if it's a head coach or whatever. Yeah, they're going to let the world know, hey, we fired this head coach. But they don't say why. If somebody asks them, yo, why y'all fire him? Ask the coach. Ask why we fire him. Ask him why we fire him. That's normally what happens. So either way, this don't get out there like that. But yet, here we are with this case. And not only is this dude not fired or, anything like that, he is suspended for a year. So then the Boston Celtics organization did a press conference involving their co-owner, and I forgot who his name is, involving one of the co-owners and the general manager, Brad Stevens, who was once their head coach, but was moved up to be their general manager, which was a weird scenario, but that's another story for another day. And did we learn anything from the press conference? Well, we learned some stuff, but it wasn't much. But nevertheless, we did learn some stuff. So what did we learn? That, yeah, they had a third party come in and they did a investigation that lasted for a few months, actually. And then because of that, there was legal wording or legal involvement that says they can't reveal much, which is weird. And then when the suspension is up, they still gonna say, well, we may keep him or we may fire him. And then in terms of, okay, is there like a evaluation process that y'all created to determine whether or not y'all would keep him, fire him once his year-long suspension is up? Nope, they didn't even do that based on the conference. And then when asked about the woman involved, they would not reveal. Not only did they not reveal who the woman is, but the co-owner literally said she would not be punished. And I'm like, well, and we go more in a second. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. This is a corporate-wide policy. So why is she excluded from punishment? And then to make matters worse, going into the press conference, there has been stories and accusations going on online, on Twitter, whatever, about like 7 to 8 possible women who could be the woman that this head coach had an affair with. Now, let me also explain this as well. This head coach was engaged to former successful actress Nia Long. So if you know who Nia Long is, yeah. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So again, there was accusation made towards 6, 7, 8 women who are employed within the Boston Celtics organization that, they could be the woman that he had the affair with or whatever. And, they been slandered and stuff. And while Brad Stevens was literally, if you saw the press conference, Brad Stevens was literally pissed off and was defending these women. The co-owner, no, that's not a priority for him. Nope, he didn't mention the women at all. He didn't mention the women at all. Nothing like that at all. Nope. So basically, the press conference was to see the co-owner badmouth this head coach. So that's basically what the press conference was all about. Now, before I get on to this, let me I should have said this at the very beginning, but let me explain something to you real quick. So the head coach cheated on his wife to take part in this affair with some woman within the Boston Celtics organization. On a personal level, I do not condone cheating at all. I don't want to get too personal, but I've been a victim of it. So I do not condone it. I do not promote it. I do not support it. I do not like it. I do not love it. No, there's nothing positive I'm going to say about cheating. I condone that crap. I despise that crap to the fullest. So what the head coach did, I am not supporting him at all. Like me personally, he should be fired. He should be fired. That's me personally. That's how I feel about the situation. He should be fired. But for some odd reason, they decided to, at the moment, keep him, but suspend him, which is very, very interesting, to say the least. So, with that out the way, now let's talk about my beef with the Boston Celtics organization, who I find to be a trash organization. So, here's why I call them trash. The press conference was pretty much a waste of time because they did not reveal much at all. Everything, they was like, oh, everything is behind legal mumbo jumbo, so they can't share anything. So it was like, then why the hell did you have a press conference for? What was the whole point of that? Y'all basically wasted a lot of people's time with this press conference. All you did was pretty much badmouth and humiliated the head coach. Now, again, I'm not defending him because, again, there's no excuse for what he did, especially at the expense of Nia Long. Like, come on, man. Like, please. Like, man, if I was Nia Long's fiancé, and they have a kid together. So it's like, no, we don't condone that at all. But there's still a lot of issues with the way the Boston Celtics organization handled it. Again, we have a leaker. This never happens before, where two employees, whether it's the head coach or whatever, purposely engaged in sexual activity, and it was revealed to the public. That never happened before in any sports organization, but yet it happened here, and it just so happened to be at the expense of the head coach, who is at first glance a black guy. So there's that. Then they want to keep everything hush. Now they want to keep everything hush, except for the fact that the head coach was involved in it, which makes it really look suspicious. And also, I want to point out that Boston as a city have I don't know, I'm going to say a bad rap, but they have, they are alleged. The city of Boston is alleged of being racist. So there's that, and combining that with this, it's not a good look for the Boston Celtics organization. But there is somewhat of a saving grace for them, depending on what actually happened. So that's the thing. So, because again, the first report was that the head coach and the woman, whoever that woman is, and there's a report on who the woman is, actually, that I'll get to in a second, they both had a consensual relationship. Now, what did that mean? That means neither one forced the other. They both were in on it. They both was cool with it as adults. Not a single one of them were underage. Neither one was forced or anything like that. They both went together and said, yo, let's have sex. Okay, I'm down, and did it. And they both broke the policy. But yet, the woman who is currently, well, as of me saying this at this point in this video, is nameless and won't get punished. And then, so it's very, very funny. It's very, very crazy. Now, while all this is going on, the likes of Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, they actually know what happened. They know what happened. Stephen A. said that he's not going to reveal what happened, which is the right move, but he knows what happened. Kendrick Perkins knows what happened, and I guess he's saying the same idea as Stephen A., and he's not going to reveal exactly what happened, but it is a crazy situation. Now, let me get on with the latest that I heard based on this past Friday. So, apparently, Ime Udoka, the head coach, had an affair with Kathleen Nimmo Lynch, who is the wife of the Boston Celtics vice president, Patrick Lynch. So, yeah, in case you're wondering, why the woman isn't being punished? That's probably why, because of who she is and who her husband is. That's probably why. Why they got a year-long suspension for this guy and basically hijacking his career Because if he would have been fired, because of how good he is as the head coach, like give him a few months, he would have found another job. But they hijacked his career. He ain't getting that triple salary. That's not happening. And we don't even know if he's going to even come back as the head coach after his suspension is up. They hijacked his career. Why did that happen? Well, if this is true and this is the woman who he had an affair with, yeah, knowing who her husband is, that's probably why. So there's that. And so, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Now, one thing that I want to talk about is this. So my belief prior to me reading this report from thesportsrush.com that was posted this past Friday in terms of who the woman is, assuming this is true, we don't know, is that you got Malika Andrews, who is also in some serious fire, by the way. And that might be another story for another day. I don't know. I don't think so. But I do find this to be pretty funny. Is that anytime, right? So she appeared on Stephen A's show's First Take, and she have her own show called The Jump, NBA The Jump. And when Stephen A and Kendra Perkins brought up the fact that, hey, he's the only one getting the punishment, what about the woman? She immediately wanted to cut him off and say, yo, let's focus on what is reported here, and let's not draw any attention to the woman here. And I'm like, well, if the woman broke policy. Now, this is before this report came out in terms of who the woman is. Again, we don't know if that report is true or not. But prior to me reading that report, she was all like, well, let's not focus on the woman here because that's not what's being reported. We have no information on that. Even though Stephen A. Smith and Kendra Perkins do have knowledge of apparently what happened. So I'm assuming they know who the woman is. So even though they won't say her name, but they were saying, yo, if she broke the policy, why isn't she punished? And that is a valid question. If this policy is technically for everybody, why is it a woman who, again, was not forced into doing this, went along with it, as reported, by the way, why isn't she punished? Now, this is before we found out who she was. Now it makes sense. So now we got Malika Andrews trying to be like this black feminist or whatever, who apparently hate black men. That's the slander that's going on at her expense going on Twitter. That's another story for another day. Now, let me give you guys the second report that I saw on Twitter, but apparently I'm not sure how true this is because not a lot of people is talking about it or picking it up. Not a lot of media outlets is picking this up, and that is this. Ime Udoka kind of initiated the sexual act between the two of them. So by initiated, we could be talking about forcing the woman. We could be involving the RA word. You know what word that is. So if this second report is true, this is a completely different ball game right here. And now we may be talking about a criminal act or maybe a civil lawsuit, a civil case coming from this. But again, that if and only if that second report is true. I don't know how true that is because, again, not a lot of sports media outlets are picking up on it based on what I have seen. So I don't know how true that is. So until I see evidence or I see people picking that one up, I'm going to roll with the first report that says Ime Udoka and Kathleen Nimmo Lynch, assuming that is her, literally came together and said, let's have sex. Okay, I'm down. Let's do it. So that's what I'm rolling with. And because if this report is true and saying that it is her, yeah, now we can see why she won't get punished. And even though I don't because of who she is, I don't know if she's going to get punished. I don't know if she's going to get punished. Now, should she get punished? I mean, if she's an employee, I don't know. Well, it literally says female staff member, so she has to be an employee of the Boston Celtics organization. So yes, she should be punished. But because of who her husband is, I don't know. Now, going back to the press conference. Now, before we knew about this whole Kathleen Nimmo Lynch scenario, again, the co-owner would not defend any of these women like Brad Stevens did. So my mind said, bro, can you say something? Can you defend these women who are wrongfully accused? I don't care if one of those 7 to 8 women was indeed the culprit, was indeed the one that engaged in that sexual act with Ime Udoka. At least lie and say none of them was involved. Something. Nope, he wouldn't do it. So here's how I see things. Even though I do not condone what Ime Udoka did because, how I take this personally. I've been a victim of that, so I don't condone what he did. But at the same time, the Boston Celtics organization is not, they're not in the right. They are definitely in the wrong as well in terms of how to handle it. This should not have been leaked. They should not have went and make this more public than it did. There should not have been a press conference at all, especially when you have nothing to share and all you're doing is badmouthing the coach. So none of this should have been out there to begin with. And either Ime should have been fired, and I believe he should have been fired, or, he should have been fined a lot of money. That bonus that he was promised, cancel that, but he should still be the head coach. He should still be coaching because it would have been kept in-house and nobody would know about it, and this would not be a national air raid or national news. But yet, it's out there because the Boston Celtics organization is trash. And that's my take on that. And I'm going to call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is your boy New J Gatsby, a.k.a. New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.